Welcome to MKB Healthy Living with me, Maxine Brown. Real talk about moving more, feeling better, and finding balance wherever life takes you. Let's get started. Welcome back to MKB Healthy Living podcast. I'm Maxine, and today's episode is all about fueling your body with kindness, letting go of guilt around the food, eating in a way that nourishes you, and finding balance rather than restriction. Whether you're listening on your lunch break, walking the dog, or cruising along the canal, I hope you enjoy this episode and it reminds you that food should bring you joy, not stress. So, simplifying nutrition. It doesn't have to be complicated. Food just needs to be balanced. Healthy eating often gets overcomplicated. We see so many rules online. Cut this out, only eat that, and it can make us feel like we're failing before we even start. But the truth is, your body knows what it needs. Eating well doesn't have to mean perfection. It's all about listening to your body and giving it what helps you feel good. Try to think simple and consistent, not perfect. The thing is, it's for me, it's about asking, does this meal make me feel energized, satisfied, and cared for? That's the kind of nutrition that lasts. You don't have to be good all the time. You can have some treats, but it's making sure you're consistent. So don't ram loads of sweets down you and chocolates and sugary stuff all the time. Make sure your meals on each meal is balanced. Ideally, try and eat 3 meals a day. I know not everybody can do it. I don't do it all every day, I must admit. I will have 2 or 3 days a week where I'll fast. It just makes me feel better. It sets me up. And I don't think it does any harm whatsoever. But I do make sure then the other meals that I eat are healthy and balanced. And yeah, sometimes I'll have a slice of cake. But the thing is, when you're starting to do that and having more, treats and everything, you just need to make sure you're moving more as well. Because obviously, if you're just sat at home and not moving, and you're just taking in all these different sweets and all these all the biscuits and the crisps and loads of carbs and everything like that, then yes, you're going to feel uncomfortable. Your gut will start hurting. You'll not have any energy because you're not putting the correct energy into your body. So just ditch all the guilt and enjoy what you eat. Food shouldn't come with guilt attached. Sometimes it's the cake with friends or the chips with by the tow path that feed your soul, not just your stomach. And sometimes we need that bit of sweet treat, especially if you're feeling a bit down and everything. A bar of chocolate or a slice of cake makes you feel a lot happier. But what you'll have to do is put on the shoes afterwards and go for a walk. Put your headphones in, listen to a podcast as you're walking along. Absolute perfect idea. So when we start to remove the good and the bad labels from food, we naturally make a more balanced choices because we're not restricting or rebelling. It's about trusting yourself and remembering that one meal doesn't define your health, your worth, or your progress. Kindness on your plate starts with kindness in your thoughts. So really just think about what you're going to eat for the day. I think it's a great idea once you're getting your head round, I need to start eating a bit healthier and more sensible, is to do a meal plan for the week. And you can then look at each recipe you're going to cook and make sure that it's got exactly what you need. So some carbs, some protein, fresh fruit, vegetables, and just make sure you're not going mad on all of the wrong things. I mean, if you're piling your plate high with loads and loads of carbs and a tiniest little bit of protein, that's not ideal. In the no veg, that's just not a good start. So you just need, and also you need to make sure you're getting your portions correct as well. You don't want to be making yourself feel hungry, but you want to be able to feel comfortable, but don't overeat. There's nothing worse, I personally think, than filling up and gouging loads and gorging loads and loads of food and feeling bloated and everything. So eat sensible amounts. So Living on the boat, I've learned that healthy food doesn't need a big kitchen or lots of space because obviously I've got very, very little. I've got a very small kitchen and I love cooking, which sometimes can be a challenge. One of my best and most favourite breakfasts, and the easiest I find, especially on the boat to make, is overnight oats. I put berries in, I put seeds in, I put fresh fruit in if I've got some. If not, I'll use dried fruit. I use a mix of yogurt and milk. I always put some chia seeds in. I also put nettle seeds. If I've collected those in the spring or summer, whenever they're around, you see them hanging down. But put those in the put it all into a plastic container, put it into the fridge, and then the next morning you get up and you've got a couple of I always put a couple of tablespoons in and a tablespoon of Greek yogurt on top. The best one at the moment I found is the coconut yogurt that I'm getting from Aldi, and it sets you up for the day. It keeps you full. And so then you're not then snacking because that's one of the worst things you can do because you end up snacking on biscuits and chocolates and it doesn't fill you up. It's so having an overnight oats for breakfast or probably 10, 11 o'clock, whatever if you don't feel like eating first thing, because I don't, I must admit, I like to be up for a couple of hours before I start eating. It works perfect. Another good thing is some whole grain wraps. Instead of eating lots and lots of bread all the time, get some wraps. And you can put hummus in, spinach, roast peppers, gorgeous. Then you can mix it up with some tuna and or chickpea salad with olive oil and lemon, and just anything the cream cheese, but try and get the low fat so you're not eating lots and lots of fats, and put some salad bits in it. But it's a really good idea not to eat loads and loads of bread all the time because then you're overdosing on your carbs. And whole grain wraps have a lower carb within lots of bread. Another lovely thing I think at this time of the year is a veggie soup or a one pot lentil stew, which is easy to do. Just whack everything into it, put it onto well, I'm using the wood burner at the moment because when we've got a good fire going, I can put all my stews and my soups on there to cook. And there's nothing better than a lovely, wholesome soup or a stew and a chunk of bread. I know I've just said don't eat lots and lots of bread, but I think it's nice to have a nice chunk of bread when you've got a veggie soup or any other soup you fancy doing. But just make sure you've got lots and lots of vegetables in there as well, because obviously they're very good for you and it all fills you up. So again, you don't start going and snacking all the time because that's one of the most important things. I think if you can make sure that you're eating sensibly and feel fueled up and full, then you won't go and grab lots of bags of crisps and bits and pieces. I'm not saying don't ever eat those because yeah, you've got to have a treat now and again. There's nothing worse than having a glass of wine or a beer or something like that and thinking, oh, I could just do with a bag of crisps. Go and have a bag, but just don't do it too often. And then if you do have, going out and you're going out for a take or have a takeaway or going out for a meal, counterbalance it in later on in the week and have more sensible meals or go for a longer run, go for a longer walk, whatever your exercise you like to do, just extend it slightly because it's all about being sensible but trying to stay healthy. And that's the main thing. So as you head into this week ahead, try to bring a little bit more balance and kindness into how you fuel your body. Listen to what you need, your body needs, and enjoy your food. And don't really overthink it. The other thing I must just remind us while we're listening to this is make sure you're also having enough water in and you can drink obviously squash and things like that. Try and keep it down to the 0, so you're not putting loads of sugar into your body as well. But a lot of the time when you think you're hungry, you're not. It's because you're dehydrated and it's your body was obviously telling you to put something in it, but a lot of the time it's just fluid that you need and not food. So with that, try and eat a balanced meal at least twice a day. but really upped your fluid intake as well, because you'll notice a huge difference. It'll just give you a much brighter outlook. You'll feel much more energized and want to go out and do all these running and this walking and this fitness and get yourself moving, because then when you've done that, you can have a nice slice of cake, which is even better. So I want to thank you for joining me today on MKB Healthy Living Podcast. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please follow and share it and let me know what small swaps of meals you've been loving lately. So what have you been having for your breakfast and your or evening meals? What kind of soups have you been making? So you can join me on all my socials, and I'm going to start putting recipes in my newsletter, and you'll often find recipes that I've put in on my Facebook page or my Instagram, because as I said earlier, I love cooking, and I've also bought out 2 cookery books, which if you go onto Amazon and put Maxine K. Brown in, you'll see a couple of the books that I've got on there, the recipe books. And there's lots of healthy food, and there's also some not so healthy, but as I've said, you could have those. Just make sure you don't eat too many of them. And if you do, you go out for a long walk or a long run. So anyway, until next time, take care of yourself, and remember, it's never too late to live well. So thanks for listening to MKB Healthy Living. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please follow, rate, or share it with a friend who might need a little boost. And remember, it's never too late to start living a healthier, happy life.